Hey guys, welcome back to Breezy's Post. So, today I am finally going to be talking to you guys about BMT training. If you're new here and you don't know, I went away for Air Force BMT training, and I'm going to talk about it like everybody does if they're a YouTuber and they go to BMT training, because like, why not? You guys watch them and you keep watching them, so you can't be mad if we keep making the videos. Anyways, so on the real though, if you are new here, I like to make natural hair videos, wig videos, lifestyle videos, any type of videos. Basically, I just like to make videos. So make sure you subscribe and hit that like button if you like this video. If I'm looking down, it's because I actually took notes. I actually recorded this video previously, but it was so scattered and I was so scatterbrained that it was really bad, so I decided to record. And I had some like gunk in like the corner of my mouth, so I don't have any right now, so I should be able to get through this video. But yeah, I took some notes so that I could stay on task without getting off task. And yeah, this is gonna be a two-parter. This first part is just gonna be about general stuff about basic training, you know, the stuff that almost everybody is pretty much the same, kind of, not really, I don't know, kind of, sort of. And then the second part is gonna be about how my flight almost got recycled. My entire flight almost got recycled. If you want to watch that video, make sure you watch it when I post it. I don't know when I'm posting it. Probably the week after I post this one. Okay, so the heat in my apartment is like really loud and I just have to turn it off, and I'm probably gonna freeze, but I'm doing it for you guys, so. Alright, so I'm gonna start off with the very first day. Actually, no, I'm gonna start off with traveling to BMT. So I'm in the Guard, so I didn't go through all the stuff that you active duty people go through, where you have to go to MEPS and then you immediately get shipped off. I had gone to MEPS like a while before I actually left for BMT, like months. So the way it worked is that I went to MEPS. I'm not gonna talk about MEPS because that was a really long time ago. BMT was already a very long time ago for me, so MEPS will be way too long. But anyways, so when I left, it was just like I just left. So I went to the airport, blase blase blah. I actually went to BMT with 3 other people who I knew already from my base, because again, I'm in Guard, so I was already going to student flight with these people. So 3 other people, which is kind of cool. And the one girl, I'm not gonna mention people's names because I didn't ask if people were okay with me mentioning their names in this video, so I'm just not gonna do it. But this one girl actually ended up being in my flight, which is really cool. So I got on the plane. I'm from New York, and I got on the plane and I went to Texas, you know, Lackland or whatever. And when I got off the plane, all like the Guard people, I don't know if it was Guard and Reserve, I don't even know if it was just Guard and Reserve, but there was this room specifically for people that were going to basic training that were at the airport at the time. So we sat in this room. It was actually really nice. They had like food in there, like Hot Pockets and stuff that you could heat up, I think. They had like ramen noodles, and then they also had like games, like Xbox and stuff. I don't play games, so I don't really know. They had computers in there. It was actually like really nice. The only thing is that there were so many people in there, which I thought was crazy because like COVID. We were all like wearing masks. Yeah, we were all wearing masks, but it was so many people and it was so crowded that if you like left for a second and then came back, you would like lose your seat. Like you have to be standing up. And we were there for like a few hours, if I think. Again, this was a long time ago, so I don't have exact time frames, but I'm pretty sure it was a few hours. So I actually ended up buying food at the airport. I didn't want to eat the food that they had there, even though it was free, which is kind of nice. After we got out of that room, there was an MTI, or at least he was wearing an MTI hat, that came into the airport and instructed us on what to do. Oh, my heat just went off, sorry. And instructed us on what to do, so we had to like line up. He was basically like, told us all to be quiet, and he was like, listen up. You're gonna listen to these instructions, you're gonna do them exactly how I tell you how to do them the first time, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you line up, you're gonna line up in 4 lines behind these cones. And you know, we shut up and we did it, and we lined up behind the cones. And then he had all these other instructions too, like once you get up to the table, you're gonna sign this, take that, I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of instructions that we kept having to tell people as more people were joining the line because they weren't there to hear the instructions, so that was kind of annoying. Anyways, we did that. After we did all the stuff that we had to do, had our paperwork signed, they gave us masks too. We had to wear the mask that they gave us at the time. I got on a bus and it headed straight to Lackland Air Force Base. At this moment, we still all had our cell phones, so I was like Snapchatting, blah, 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 on my phone, blah, blah, blah. So obviously we get to Lackland Air Force Base. And I'm expecting like, cause I watched a whole lot of YouTube videos before I went, like a lot of people do. Everybody says that when you get to the base, that the MTIs get on and start yelling and you'll be like, get off the bus, blah, blah, blah. But instead, somebody came on and they were just like, oh, get off the bus. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. I was expecting them to be like, get off the bus, get your stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I don't remember them like yelling at us like that, which was kind of strange. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a piece of shit. But yeah, so they weren't yelling at us. They just like, were like very matter of fact, like, get your bag, do this, blah, blah, blah. So I remember we had to go into the PRC, which is something with a P, recreational center or something. I don't know. It's basically where you go. It's a big auditorium and stuff. They give us a book bag. They tell us to put it on our front, and they tell us to have all the zippers open. And then we go through like this line of people that are handing us things or they're not handing it to us, but people that are putting stuff in our bags. So like imagine like you have this book bag on your front, you're going through this line, they're putting something in. Next person putting something in. And what they were giving us was all the stuff, you know, they're supposed to give us. They gave us notebook. Let me look at my list because I'm forgetting. They gave us, they give you the BMT study guide, which is gonna be really important because that's what you're gonna use to study for your EOC or end of course exam. I don't know. The EOC at the end, you know, when you gotta take the test. They give you notebooks, pens, highlighters, Sharpies, all that stuff. So you don't need to bring that stuff with you. Don't worry about that. They give you a reflective belt, a flashlight, which you're gonna need. They also give you body wash, which is kind of decent. It's suave, but it was like coconut suave or something. It was kind of nice. I used it up until I started to get bougie. We went to the BX and I got some Aveeno, but it was good. Like I used it and it kept my, you know, washed my body. They give you loofah. I didn't use a loofah. I don't know if you guys saw my BMT packing video. I didn't use a loofah because it can't be wet in your wall locker. So I got one of them silicone things. I'll put my packing list up here if you guys want to see it. Okay, then they give you deodorant, and the funny thing is that they give you sunscreen, but they don't give you lotion. So definitely bring a travel size lotion if you can, because it will get real ashy, and I don't know. They give you hand sanitizer, they give you sneakers. By the way, when it comes to the sneakers, guys, if you want to bring your own, I would suggest that, like, bring your own running sneakers, because, well, I originally brought my own sneakers, and I wasn't very, like, intellectual on like the sneaker game and what type of sneakers you're supposed to use to run. And the sneakers that I had ruined my feet. Like I had issues with my feet almost the entire, like not the whole time I was there, but I had issues with my feet while I was at BMT. And I actually started wearing the shoes that they gave me, which were actually pretty decent. They were just ugly. But that's up to you. So if you bring sneakers, make sure you know what type of sneakers you're supposed to be wearing for your feet. I definitely suggest Brooks running shoes. That's what I got when I was in tech school, and I still have them, and they're amazing. So anyways, there's probably more stuff that they give you, but I can't remember. That's all the stuff I can remember. I'm sorry, guys. This was in April 2021. Yeah, so that was a long time ago. It's January 2022. So once we got out of the PRC, we went under the pavilion of our squadron. I was in I don't remember the name, the actual numbers of the squadron, but I was a Mustang. And yes, I was in Disneyland. So we sat under this pavilion, like literally crisscross applesauce on concrete, which is very uncomfortable for me. I don't like to sit crisscross applesauce. It hurts my back and it hurts my legs. But we were there, and it felt like we were there for hours. I really don't know how long it was. The funny thing is that each flight was in their own line. So I'm like sitting crisscross applesauce behind girls that were in front of me. And the other flights obviously were like next to us, sitting in a line. And their MTIs were like yelling at them, you know, whenever somebody would do something wrong, like, oh, why are you doing that? Blah, blah, blah. You're not gonna make it through this if you keep doing stuff like that. Oh, blah, blah, blah. They were kind of like, even like making fun of people, kind of like yelling at them. But our MTI, by the way, I'm not gonna mention their names because like I said, I don't know if I can. So I'm gonna call, we had three at first. One of them is in training, but the two main one, I'm gonna call Sergeant Bob and Sergeant Sarah, just generic names. So Sergeant Bob and Sergeant Sarah. So Sergeant Bob was the first one there, and he basically was like super like chill compared to the other MTIs. Like he was like, sit down, open your BMTSG to page so-and-so, read, eat your MRE. Like just matter of fact, like he wasn't like angry or anything about it, and he wasn't like yelling, which was kind of nice. And I was kind of confused because I was like, I didn't think he was our MTI. I thought maybe our MTI wasn't there and it was just somebody that was like sitting in for him because they were like really chill about it, but he was. So Sergeant Bob actually took us in a line. Like after like we were sitting under the pavilion, he took us over to the side and told us to stand in a line and basically told us like, oh, I don't yell to get things across. Like if you do what you're supposed to do, I'm not gonna be yelling and screaming at you. Cause he said, I don't really remember exactly what he said, but it was along those lines. Like he wasn't basically saying like, oh, I'm not gonna yell at you, this is gonna be the best time ever. But he was just like very matter of fact, like, I'm not gonna yell at you. I don't think it's effective. Just do what you're told and don't embarrass me. Like, but yeah, all the other flights were like getting yelled at and stuff, and I'm like silently like laughing, but also hoping I don't get yelled at. But anyways, so yeah, we were sitting there, and it wasn't like a full flight that was sitting there. The rest of them ended up coming like later on in the night. So we go upstairs to our dorms, and we have to make our beds, but he doesn't teach us how to do them. He just says make them to the best of your ability, because at this point it was like nighttime. So like when we got there, it was still daytime, but at this point it was, I don't remember what time it was, but it was like nighttime. I think we got a shower maybe. We just like brushed our teeth and stuff. Like that first night was super chill. I was like, this is gonna be a piece of cake, like BMT hoop. So we just like got in some comfy clothes. He like wasn't there for a while, and we just like went to sleep. The next morning, y'all. Let me tell y'all about the next morning. So obviously, you know, the little music goes off in the beginning. I forget what it's called, Reveille. I think that's not Reveille. It's something, the music that plays in the morning that goes da 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 da. So we woke up and so Sergeant Sarah, we hadn't met her yet. We met Sergeant Bob. Sergeant Sarah comes in with another woman who is actually our brother flight's MTI. So we're gonna call her Sergeant Susie. All right, so Sergeant Sarah and Sergeant Susie come in, and they are screaming at us to get up, because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Literally the night before, we got no guidance on how the morning was gonna go. Sergeant Bob left us out to dry. So yeah, Sergeant Sarah and Sergeant Susie yelling at us, get up, what are you doing, blah 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 blah, make your bed, stand at attention, yada da da da. We were like, we don't even know how to stand at attention, like whoa. So we're just like all standing up by our wall lockers, because like there's the bed and then the wall lockers are like behind the bed. So we're just standing there, and I guess it's like quiet, like you can hear a pin drop. And we're standing there, and they're like walking down the bays. There's 2 bays in each dorm, so there's gonna be like an A bay and B bay. I was in A bay. So they're walking down B bay, and then they come back around A bay, coming back up. And Sergeant Sarah looks at me, and I'm just staring straight ahead. I'm like, I'm not trying to say nothing. And she goes, take that scarf off your head. So y'all, I like sleep with a scarf, and I was still wearing it. So she told me to take it off. I was like, I ripped that thing off my head so fast. Oh my God, that was so freaking hilarious. And it's funny because Sergeant Sarah was black. So like, she probably like, she knew, you know what I'm saying? Like she was like, yo, she really wearing her scarf. Oh my God. It's so funny though, because at the end of BMT, I got to like talk to her like a real person and talk about that moment, and she actually thought it was hilarious. Yeah, so that was like really scary. And then they like yelled at us because we like had on biker shorts. We like wore biker shorts, and like it was kind of hot, and like t-shirts or whatever. A lot of us were wearing biker shorts and or leggings. And they were like, oh, you gotta put on like actual pants, because apparently we're not allowed to wear that when Sergeant Bob is there, which is like a whole thing, which makes sense obviously, I guess, but we didn't know. So anyways, that first morning was like an awakening, because like I said, the night before I was like, oh, this is gonna be chill. All right, so for us specifically, it's definitely different for every flight and every person, and every, like, if you're going at a different time than me. We didn't get OCPs for like the first week. The first week we were in civvies, and I was kind of upset because the older videos I watched, like they got their uniforms like right away, at least their PT gear. That's what I meant, their PT gear, not their OCPs. So I did not have enough civvies for the entire week, so I had to like re-wear clothes, which is kind of gross. And like at this time, we didn't have like laundry going or like a laundry crew or anything. I know it's kind of gross, but I didn't know what else to do. So be prepared for that. Make sure you bring at least a week's worth of civvies, because you never know what's gonna happen. For the first week, maybe for the first 2 weeks, we didn't get any like phone calls, any mail, which really sucked. Like we were all like really sad, and nobody wanted to ask the MTI, because we weren't comfortable at all with them at this point. We didn't want to ask them like, hey, like, are we gonna get any mail, or can we get a phone call or whatever? Which is like understandable. It's only like the first week or 2, but it was just kind of sad. So like I said, it's different for everybody. You know, phone calls can be like, people have gotten phone calls for an hour. I'm just telling you, like towards the end, but like we never got that. So I'm just telling you, is different depending on your MTI and on how your flight is doing. All right, so now I'm just gonna go over like the day-to-day things that you're gonna be doing. So you're gonna have details. You're probably not getting any details for like the first week. At least we didn't. Like I said, I need to stop like saying things that are actually gonna happen because like I said, I don't know, it's different. We didn't get details, I feel like, for the first few days, maybe even the first week. But you will get details. I was on day room crew, which I absolutely love because all you really got to do is sweep and dust and just make sure there's no dust in the room, which was actually kind of fun. And the people that I was with, they were like really cool. So we would just like sing. Like I would literally be singing the entire time doing details. That was a lot of freaking fun. Like I'll have the broom, like we would be having shows in there. Like people from other details would come into the day room just to like have a second of fun and then go back and do their details. But anyways, it was a lot of fun. So if you do get to pick your details, we didn't. We just got randomly assigned, I think. If I'm wrong, anybody who's in my flight can tell me. That's what I'm saying. If anybody's in my flight and they're like, what is she talking about? That did not happen. Please correct me down below because my memory is shot from tech school. But yeah, there's laundry crew. You don't want to do that. They were so stressed. I feel so bad for them because like they had to find times to do laundry. Like there wasn't a set time to do it. Like they had to like schedule it, but we had to make sure we had clothes too on the same time. So I wouldn't suggest doing laundry crew. I also wouldn't suggest being the person to clean the laundry room because all the cleaning supplies that everybody else uses is in the laundry room. So that means that if they don't clean like the mop, like the brooms have to be clean. Like you have to like take all the dust off of them. If they don't do that, then that's on you, and you might not get the broom until the end of the time that you have for details. So you know, laundry room is always kind of screwed when it comes to that. There's bathroom crew, which a lot of them said they liked it. I probably would have liked it too because it's very like, some things are very tedious, like picking up hair from the shower when it's wet and like stuck on the floor. But bathroom crew is actually really good about it. There's the bed aligners. Like their job seemed so freaking easy. All they had to do was like take this big piece of wood and make sure and put it and line it up with all the beds and make sure that all the beds were like lined up. And that was their job. So, oh, there was like people that cleaned the hallway, which is like, wasn't it? I think, yeah, like the hallway and like the entrance, they like swept that. And also there was like a carpet that they had to make sure there was like nothing on the carpet. And obviously you don't get a vacuum or anything, so you're like picking up stuff, or they're picking up stuff like with their hands. So keep that in mind. Yeah, so that's all I can remember for details. If I'm missing something, put it down below. Also, we did things called dust downs, which is basically, I think we did it like 3 times a day, 2 times a day, I don't really remember, but we did dust downs, and it's basically like everybody had to dust like the area near your bed, and like it would be like counted down. Like you would, I can't really explain it. Like you would be told to clean a certain like area and you would get a countdown for that, and you all have to count down and you have to like sound off. And when I say sound off, I mean like you have to count down very loud or else the MTIs will get mad. So for example, they'll say, I don't remember what the terminology was, but it's like, okay, clean the top of your wall locker. Top of the wall locker, 5, 10, 9, 8, like while you're cleaning, 7, 6, and they don't give you like dusters or anything, so you literally have to use well, I use dry cleaner sheets because there's a little tip. The dry cleaner sheets, it would stick, the dust would stick to them, and I think I bought them at the BX, I'm pretty sure. Oh, flip-flops. You use your flip-flops to do the dust downs. So that's what you would use at first. So you take the flip-flop and you would be like, it was bad because the first time we did dust downs, the flip-flops were it was right after we just showered, so they were wet, like shower shoes. So they were wet and then all the dust just stuck to it. It was gross. But yeah, so top of the wall locker, 10 seconds, blah, 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 blah. Under the bed, whatever seconds, 20, 19, 18, like you have to be sounding off, especially if the MTIs are there if you're doing dust downs. All right, so you're also gonna have what they call element leaders. Element leaders, and you're also gonna have a dorm chief. So like the element leaders, there's gonna be 4 element leaders, and you have a dorm chief who's like the head honcho. Like dorm chief is in charge, and then you got the 4 element leaders that are like the other leaders. So if you get picked for dorm chief, good luck to you. That just seems like a very hard position. Usually they'll pick like the person that's the oldest, and I think that's what they did for ours. I think she was the oldest. And then the element leaders, they pick if they see something in you that they just like. I didn't get picked, so I must suck. No, I'm joking. Also, the people that get picked as your leaders, they basically shape like how your flight's gonna be, or they can shape how your flight's gonna be. So just a little side note, dorm chief at first was rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. Like at first she just came off as insanely bossy, and it rubbed so many people the wrong way to the point where I felt the need to say something. But when I don't like go off on people, like I don't do that. Even if I'm mad, I just tell them about themselves. I just kindly and politely tell them about themselves. So I told her, you know, we need to talk. I was like, listen, the way you're talking to people is starting to rub them the wrong way. And then I gave her suggestions. I was like, maybe instead of saying something like this, say it like this. And she was actually a good dorm chief in the fact that she actually listened to me and did actually try to apply it, which I really appreciate, because there are people that do not take feedback well. So if you are a dorm chief and somebody, you know, goes out of their way to say something to you politely and kindly, then definitely take that feedback, you know? So besides details, dust downs, and all that stuff, you're also gonna be doing EC. EC is called entry controller, and you're basically going to be in charge of guarding the door. Everybody has EC duty at some point. I mean, not at some point. You have it like, you'll probably have it, if not every day, every other day, I don't really remember. The EC monitor's in charge of making the schedule. I remember having EC very often. So basically two people always have to be manning the door at all times, and they have this whole binder of situations and scenarios that you have to know. Like everybody has to know that, and that was a huge thing for us. So like fire drills, gas drills, I think there was gas drills. I don't know, it was fire drill, and it was like fire, and then it was, I told y'all my memory is bad, I'm so sorry, but they're different drills. You get the idea. And if you don't do them right, or the EC person misses a step, because you literally have to follow like a checklist of everything. Like you have to bring up, like, it's okay for you to read the binder. You don't have to memorize the steps, but you have to do every single one. And if you don't, then that's bad news for the whole flight. Also, there are EC duties at night, which suck because EC duties are 2 hours. So, you know, you get up at 6. If you have EC at 4, then you're up from 4 to 6, which kind of sucks. If you have EC at 12, you know, you're up from 12 to 2. So that's like in the middle of the night, which sucks too. Just most night EC duties suck, but you're gonna have them. You have to stay awake. I know, you know, you fall asleep, that might not look good for you, but you have to stay awake. What I would suggest doing is studying your memory work. By the way, that's a thing. There's a whole piece of paper of memory work that you have to know. Like MTIs will literally like test you on it. So like you have to know ranks, like what ranks look like. You have to know your chain of command. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to know. So when you're on EC, study your memory work or study for your EOC. Just do something. Do something. It's 2 hours of time that you have to do something. So definitely do that. Also, if your MTIs are there often and they're teaching you how to do your bed, they're gonna make you do bed drills, which means that you're gonna be making your bed the way they tell you to, including hospital corners, taking it apart, making it, taking it apart, making it, taking it apart until the whole flight gets it down packed to a time frame in which your MTI suggests. So like our MTI, he told us that he wanted it down to 7 minutes. So we did bed drills. And let me tell you, it's a workout. Like you will be sweating by the 3rd bed drill. The 3rd one, maybe even the 2nd one. It's hard. Bed drills were not fun at all. You're probably also gonna be doing your wall locker a lot. So I forget what they're called, but you have these checks that they have to check your wall locker to make sure it's the way it's supposed to be. It's very particular, like insanely particular. And our MTI Sergeant Bob, he was such a stickler for perfection. Like these are other people's expectations. His was like here. And the reason that he did that is so when we get to our final assessment or check, whatever the heck it's called, you know, we would pass, and all of us passed. It wasn't an issue, but it's very particular, and all that stuff's gonna be in your BMT DG, BMT dorm guide. You look at that, you read it over. They're also gonna explain things to you. There's a certain way to fold everything. There's a certain way that things have to go into the drawer. Like it has to be touching, like your soap has to be touching your deodorant, or else that's a point off. Like it's very very specific. Like if your sock is like your sock, you have to roll your socks. If it's like turned like slightly the wrong way, that's a point off. Like it's a lot. But in my opinion, that's kind of like the funnest part of BMT. I don't know, I'm weird. But like getting things to like be perfect. If you're like a perfectionist, this will be so much fun for you. And we had a lot of time to like do our wall lockers. So I don't know. The other thing you're gonna be doing often is studying your memory work, studying for your EOC. You're gonna be doing that a lot, and you probably will start to nod off. Try to stay awake, especially if the MTIs are in there. Another thing that's very important, because any MTI can stop you at any time to check for this, is your mandatory items. I suck at having things that I'm supposed to have. So you're supposed to have like your memory work. I forget what all the items are, but there's specific mandatory items that you have to have on you at all time. And like there was one time where Sergeant Susie and another sergeant came in, or another MTI came in, and they asked for volunteers to come into the day room. The day room's like a common area for everybody. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll do it. I was bored. I was like, I guess I'll do it. And my memory work like fell out of my pocket. I was sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce, when they asked for volunteers. So I got up, memory work flipped out of the pocket. I'm up there, I'm standing at attention. And they ended up asking us memory work questions. And I didn't realize that I was getting myself into that. So like everybody says, don't volunteer for anything, but I mean, it's kind of fun to volunteer for things. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. So if you wanna volunteer for things, do it. You might end up in a position where I was, where I got asked memory work. Anyways, so I'm standing there at attention. They asked us to take out our stuff. I'm taking out my stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's not in here. Great. So I got screwed over. You always have to have 341s on you. I didn't have my 341. Like my whole, like everything was in a plastic bag, and my whole plastic bag was like just fell out of my pocket. So I didn't have my 341s, my memory work, or anything. It was a nightmare, but I mean, it is what it is. If you get caught out there, just yes sir, yes ma'am. Or don't shake your head actually. Yes sir, yes ma'am. No sir. Why did you leave your, where's your stuff? Ma'am, I left it on the floor. Wow, I guess blah 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 blah. Yes ma'am. Like you just gotta take it. I don't know what to tell you. Also, you're also gonna make sure you're always saying your reporting statement. That is one thing that we always got 341s taken away for. If you don't know what 341 is, it's basically like you have these like little pieces of paper and you like have your name on them and your information, and whenever you do something wrong, they take one away and you got to talk to your MTI later. So we'd always get 341s taken away for forgetting our reporting statement or saying it wrong. So the reporting statement is sir or ma'am, whoever you're talking to. So if it's Sergeant Bob, sir, Trainee Jenkins reports as ordered. I almost said Airman Jenkins because that's what it is now, but sir, Trainee Jenkins reports as ordered. And then you say what you have to say. Ma'am, Trainee Jenkins reports as ordered. What a lot of people would forget is the sir or ma'am. They would just say, Trainee so-and-so reports as ordered, 341. So make sure you get your reporting statement down. Sometimes your MTIs will trick you and like try to be like all buddy, like not buddy with you, but you'll just be having a casual conversation and it doesn't feel natural to say it. So you just start talking, 341. Like they will try to trick you. The other thing is you'll always have to have a wingman with you. You always have to have someone with you. MTIs will trick you and try to tell you, hey, Trainee Jenkins, come over here. Okay, if you go over there without a wingman, that's a 341, okay? So they might be like, oh, Trainee so-and-so, I need to talk to you in my office right now. If you go there, if you don't be like, hey, so-and-so, can you come with me? Then that's a 341. So always remember that, never be alone with an MTI. If you're in a room by yourself and the MTI could potentially walk in, make sure you're not in a room by yourself. You always have to salute officers. That's something that is kind of tough, especially when you're with another wingman because you guys like both have to salute. And then if you're on a flight, the person that's marching the flight has to salute. So if your dorm chief is marching the flight, she has to salute and you guys don't technically salute. It could be kind of awkward. Make sure your flight understands how to salute and when to salute because that could be a dangerous situation. Chow. So the food was actually like decent. I was okay with the food. It wasn't bad. They had a lot of dried chicken. I really didn't eat the chicken because I don't like dried chicken. But they also had a lot of fish that was pretty freaking decent. But it's always a hit or miss. Like it was either really good food or like there's nothing here that you can eat. You have to eat cereal or PB&J, you know? But the good thing that kind of works out with that is that you only get a certain amount of time to eat anyways. It wasn't a big deal for me because I already eat kind of fast. Cause I'm just a hungry ass person. Like I eat really fast. So Yeah, they had a salad bar a few weeks before we left. But before that, because of COVID, they didn't have a salad bar, and they only had these like little salads with like 1 tomato and like 1 cucumber and like 1 piece of cheese. It wasn't a good salad. But once they brought the salad bar back, I was able to get like, you know, a little bit more vegetables in my diet. They had these veggie nuggets, which everybody loved. Like, they were really good. Breakfast was like pretty freaking bomb. Like, breakfast was like one of my favorite like times of the day because they would have French toast. Oh my God. But you don't want to eat too much of it. That was the issue, was like trying to balance out when I should eat, what I should eat, you know, because of PT and all that. But the food wasn't bad in my opinion. And I guess it also depends on what squadron you're in too, because the food can be different in different chow halls. Chow runner. I was never a chow runner. But the chow runner basically like has to stand up outside of the chow hall and basically announce the whole flight to come in. And then they have to go inside and report to MTIs that their flight is coming in. There's a whole statement you have to say. So if you get picked as chow runner, make sure you're memorizing that statement and you're practicing with people in your dorm. It's not a big deal. Just make sure you know your stuff. And if you mess up one day and they yell at you, that's okay. You just do it again at lunchtime. Do it again at dinner. If you get yelled at, not a big deal. I never got to be chow runner, but it looked kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. Also, when you are going to the chow hall, you have to march. You always have to march in the chow hall. So if you're a chow runner and you're going to the MTIs, you're going to the, I forget what the table is called, but there's basically a whole table where they sit at. The snake pit? No, that's not it. I forget what it's called. But you go up there and you have to be marching and you have to do like flanks and facing movements. If you like do your marching wrong, they will yell at you. So make sure you know you're marching too. Also, you get a protein bar. Yo, those protein bars were fire, bro. They would be these like chocolate ones and these strawberry ones. So you would get a protein bar at dinner, and the first dinner that we had, we didn't realize that we were supposed to eat it later. So we ate it at dinner, but you take it and you put it in your pocket and you can eat it later when you're getting your mail, which is freaking awesome. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I like my nighttime snacks. And the fact that we had nighttime snacks at BMT, like, anyways, the chocolate ones are bomb. Some people like the strawberry, but they're just the weirdos. No offense, y'all. I lied. I said breakfast was the best time of the day. Protein bars were the best time of the day. All right, so I'm gonna move into PT. So there's 3 types of days that you're gonna have. You're gonna have a strength, you're gonna have a CIT, and you're gonna have a running day. Strength days were like, they were tough, but they were good because they helped you build up your push-ups and your sit-up and your abs. So strength days are not bad, especially if you're already fit. They're really not that bad at all. They like to do They like to do pyramid style push-ups. So, you know, increasing the amount of push-ups and then decreasing them back down. I really like doing those. They really freaking pushed me to get better at my push-ups. Before I went in, I could only do 10 push-ups. When I left, I was able to do like 30 something. So definitely love those pyramid push-ups. Pyramid push-ups. You're gonna do a lot of ab workouts, which are kind of fun. If you like stop doing them or something, like you're working out and you stop to take a break, you know, if MTI sees you, they're gonna be like, keep going, you know, they're gonna keep pushing you. Say they're gonna yell at you, but like if you physically like can't do another rep, you just gotta like act like you're trying at least. Like try to do another rep. They will let you do girl push-ups when you're doing the pyramid push-ups. So, you know, if you feel the need to drop down to the knees, go ahead and do that. But make sure that you're actually pushing yourself as much as you can, especially if you're not fit like I wasn't and you need to work on your push-ups. Like make sure you're actually pushing yourself, because if you don't, then it's just a waste of time. CIT days is basically like HIIT, so it's circuit interval training. So like high intensity interval training, but they call it CIT. It's basically like HIIT workouts, basically get your heart pumping. Because of COVID, we didn't have many running days like at all, which sucked because that's the one thing that I needed to work on. And I tried running before I went, but it's cold here in Buffalo, so I just didn't want to do that. I ran as much as I could, but anyway, so the CIT days is basically all you're gonna get when it comes to like just straight like cardiovascular workouts. So you want to make sure you're pushing yourself on those CIT days. You're gonna be doing like things like frog jumps. They did like squat jumps. I don't really remember a ton of the workouts, but they're fun. I like CIT days. Yeah, I think we only got like 2 run days, or maybe even 1 before the PT test. Like it was that bad. So whenever you have run days, you want to make sure you're pushing yourself. I cannot stress that more, especially if you're like me and your first one was like my first run was like 17 minutes and something seconds. So I end up getting like just hitting that minimum that you're supposed to hit. So make sure you're pushing yourself on PT days. Vaccinations are so much fun. I'm kidding, they suck. You literally like walk down a line of like people on each side of you, and they're just pricking you. So you're just like step, prick on both sides at the same time, step, prick. Like, it's so annoying. And if you are like bad with needles, you're not gonna be bad with needles after this, because you're gonna have so many needles in you that it's gonna be like second nature. As for the peanut butter shot, a lot of people are like scared of that. For me, I barely felt it. Like, it was a little sore, but like I barely felt it. And I think it's because like I got a lot of fat in that area. Like, honestly, like I think that's the reason. So like the needle had like more to get through. I don't know, but I really didn't feel it. This one girl though almost passed out a little bit from it. But I really think it's a mental thing, because it really doesn't actually hurt that much. So if you like go in there like basically saying, oh my God, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt. So just try as much as you can to relax, because even I was insanely nervous before going, because even though like I get a ton of, you know, shots, vaccinations, I still get like weird about them right before. So I was super nervous about it, and I tried to relax right before I got it, and it didn't hurt. What was funny is that our brother flight, they were like, oh my God, they were like limping out. Like, it was really funny. And the girls were just like, kind of weird. Yeah. But yeah, so it's not that bad. If you're going during COVID and you don't have the vaccination, they're probably gonna give it to you. I don't really know, because I already had the vaccination before going. Actually, yeah, they will give it to you, because I got the second dose while I was there, actually on graduation day, I remember. So you'll get that. Also get a COVID test. I don't know if they're the same as the ones that we got. We got the ones where they stick it all the way up here. It was horrible. They probably don't have that anymore. I don't know. So you probably have to get that done. There's these guys called Viper, or they're called something else now. I can't remember, but we call them Viper. And they're basically there for any like joint problems. Like if you like sprain your ankle, or you're having knee pain, or you're having shin splints or something, they're there for you. So if you're having any issues like that, make sure you tell your MTI and you get sent to Viper. I actually went there because I had shin pain at one point that ended up going away, and it was because of the sneakers that I brought with me that were like flat, and they were just really bad. And then I ended up wearing the sneakers that they gave us, and my shin pain went away. And then I also had I had this weird knee thing going on, and it's reoccurring because I have it now again. And I went there and I actually got a waiver, which is kind of nice, which means that you don't have to do the full out PT. You either sit out or you do like waiver flight PT, which is like you sit on the bike, or you do whatever you can based off of your waiver. So Viper, make sure you're checking that out. As for marching, we didn't do a ton of marching, but I really loved marching. You're gonna get a whole bunch of guidance on marching, facing movements, flanks. I love that stuff. If you're one of the people that are horrible at marching, or maybe you don't know it and somebody tells you, make sure you work on it. Don't take it like, oh my gosh, she told me I'm not good at marching, I don't like that, oh, blah, 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 blah. No, just like work on it, because it looks good for your flight. Just make sure you're working on your marching, okay? There's also a marching competition at the end, and actually take that seriously because it's kind of fun. The one thing that really sucks about going to BMT in the summer is that whenever you have like appointments to go places, like if your whole flight has an appointment to go to medical to get vaccinations, which is very far, you all have to march there in 100-degree plus heat in OCPs if you have your uniforms by now. Like it is so hot. Like you will constantly be sweating the entirety that you're at BMT, especially if you're there like when we were there, like from April to wherever. It wasn't even like the hottest part of the summer, and it was still very, very hot. So if you choose to go to the BX, just keep that in mind. It's gonna be really, really hot. So try to bring stuff with you, travel size stuff. Like my hair products, I brought my travel size hair products that I like to use so that I didn't have to go to the BX a whole bunch. I did go like twice, I think. But if you can bring stuff like travel size stuff, you know, TSA approved stuff, definitely do that, because marching to the BX is a nightmare. Like you'll never want to do it, especially if it's the summer. Also, graduation practice in the sun sucks. It absolutely sucks. There was the one girl who had the migraine problem. She would constantly like pass out just from, and like graduation practice, you're really just standing there. But there was like multiple people, not even just her, from other flights that would pass out. There was someone that passed out, like, I think at graduation. So you want to make sure you're hydrated. They have this hydration rule. You'll have it down packed, and you'll be told to hydrate all the time, especially if it's the summer, because they don't, you know, you're expensive and they don't want you to die. So make sure you're drinking your water. Also, you're going to be going to these classes at the PRC sometimes, and sometimes in the building where they hold classes. Classes are kind of fun because you get to leave the dorms and actually do something different for once. Although sometimes for us they got canceled due to COVID or something else happening, and we had to watch a video, which sucked because it's like, who retains information like that? We had to watch a video in the day room instead of like going somewhere. So the classes are kind of fun. And they're questions that are on the EOC, so you really want to make sure you're paying attention. You're going to take really cute blues pictures at the end, so make sure you bring a little bit of makeup in your civilian bag that you have so that you can put something light, you know, not crazy on your face. Here's my picture. I know, so cute. I know. But yeah, so make sure you're bringing a little bit of makeup, you know, some hair product or whatever for that picture. Beast Week, I hate it. For us, it was only 3 days. It was insanely hot. I had my knee issue at that point, which sucked because you have to run everywhere. So I had a lot of knee pain, and I'm gonna get more into Beast Week on the second video. So if you're interested in hearing more about it, I will tell you in the second video. And graduation is very nice. Our graduation was in OCPs outside of the PRC, which is not normal because of COVID. And we also could not have any visitors, which sucks because of COVID. So, I mean, it was still nice to graduate, but we didn't get like the full experience. And prior to graduation, I actually got the chance to sing the national anthem at a change of command ceremony for the squadron commander of our squadron, which was pretty freaking cool because after I sang for the change of command ceremony, I was actually able to go sit down and eat like civilian food with all the MTIs. Like, it was very weird because we were sitting in the chow hall, but it was like civilian food, like it was tacos and like good food. And they were all just talking to me like a regular person. Like, mind you, this was like very close to graduation, so it wasn't like, you know, weird. But I got to like actually sit down with my MTI and talk to her, like Sergeant Sarah, like an actual human being. And like we went over, you know, things that went wrong and things that were funny and things that went good. And it was actually nice to actually be treated like a human being. And what was funny is that my food was served to me by MTIs who were like volunteering to serve the food, because that dinner was for the people that were at the change of command ceremony. So it was MTIs and also their families and me, which was kind of weird. And my wingman, which was kind of cool. She got lucky that she got to come with me. So it was funny because we both got to sit down with her and talk, and we got our food served to us by MTIs who were yelling at us for however many weeks. So that was pretty freaking cool. And I got 2 coins from 2 officers at BMT. I got one from the actual squadron commander and then one from, I forget what his position was, but he was an officer as well. So I got 2 coins at BMT for singing the national anthem. If you guys want to see the video of that, let me know. I could like post it. I definitely have a video of it, but it was really cool. I got to wear my blues and I sang under the pavilion, and the acoustics were amazing, and I got to sing, and it was really cool. So if you ever get an opportunity for something like that, like to audition for something, because I had to audition for it, there was like a couple other people in the squadron that auditioned, definitely just do it. Like, put yourself out there. If you're a musician or if you're this, that, and the other, and they ask you to audition for change of command ceremony, playing an instrument, or playing in the you could play in the drum corps for the graduation, which a lot of people did. Well, anyways, guys, I'm gonna end the video here. I'm gonna talk about Beast Week and how my flight almost got recycled. I'm gonna talk more about the people kind of in my flight in part 2.